This is section 8.2, solving using the quadratic equation. So we might have seen this in other courses, but the quadratic equation is the opposite of b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a, where a cannot equal 0. Another important factor about this, if you see the box part in blue, it's specifically referred to as the discriminant, or the square root of b squared minus 4ac. When we were working on factoring, we saw standard form a lot, ax squared plus bx plus c. So that's where we'd be pulling from to put into the formula. So for example, we can see we have 7x squared plus 6x plus 4. So the first letter or number corresponds to a, so a equals 7. The second one is 6, so that's b, and the last one is 4, so that's c. Another example, sometimes we're not always given a b, but if that's the case, we just put 0. So in this case, we have x squared with an invisible 1, so a equals 1. There is no b, so it's 0, and c is 16. So for example 3, let's go ahead and try to plug it into the equation. So the opposite of b would be 5, because we're given negative 5. So when we plug everything in, we get this complicated, not complicated, but looks complicated. But let's go ahead and try simplifying first everything under the square root. So we know 5 squared is 25, and 4 times 1 times 6 is 24. And already it's looking much nicer because 25 minus 24 is 1. And we can further simplify that knowing that the square root of 1 is just 1, and we get 5 plus or minus 1 over 2. So looking at older sections, we know when we have a square root, we get two answers. So that's why we put the plus or minus there. So we're going to have two answers. First, we're going to do 5 plus 1 over 2, which gives us 6 over 2, or just 3. And we're going to do 5 minus 1 over 2, which gives us 4 over 2, or just 2. So our two answers are both 3 and 4. I'm sorry, 3 and 2. Next example we're going to be working with is negative 5y squared plus 3y plus 2. So let's go ahead and list our a, b, and c. A equals negative 5, b is 3, c is 2, and let's go ahead and plug that in. So again, it looks a little ugly under the square root, but let's go ahead and simplify. And I accidentally did 3 squared and plugged in 9 automatically. That was my mistake, but it should be 3 squared and then it becomes 9. So let's do negative 4 times negative 5, which is 20, times 2 gives us 40. It's really important to remember that two negative numbers, negative 4 and negative 5, become positive, so it's going to become plus 40 instead of minus 40. And on the bottom, we get negative 10 times 2 to get negative 20. We're able to further simplify that to get the square root of 49. And we know that the square root of 49 is a perfect square, so it becomes 7. And we get negative 3 plus or minus 7 over negative 20. And again, because it's a plus or minus, we're going to get two answers. Negative 3 minus 7 over negative 20, and negative 3 plus 7 over negative 20. So we're able to simplify that into negative 10 over 20, or negative 1/2, and 4 over negative 20, which gives us negative 1/2. And I'm sorry, it should be positive 1/2, because negative 10 divided by negative 20 is 1/2, and 4 divided by negative 20 is negative 1/5. And that's the end of this video.